If you've been caught in a sudden downpour recently, well, you are definitely not alone. So we're going to break down exactly what's causing all this intense, widespread rain across Tamil Nadu, and more importantly, what you can expect next. Let's get right into it.
So that's the big question on everyone's mind, right? And don't worry, we are absolutely going to get to a district-by-district breakdown. But first, to really get what's happening, you need to understand the why, the massive weather system that's driving all this rain.
So the main culprit here is this powerful low-pressure system. And you know, it's been on quite a journey. It started out southeast of Sri Lanka, made its way across the island, and now it's parked right over the Kanyakumari Sea, just getting ready to unload even more rain.
And here's what's really fascinating, the sheer scale of this thing. We're not just talking about a little storm on the surface. Nope. Its influence, what the weather folks call its upper air circulation, goes up almost 8 kilometers into the sky. That height, well, that's its secret weapon. It's what allows it to pull in just a huge amount of moisture and cook up this really intense weather. Okay, so you hear this term low-pressure area thrown around a lot, but what does it actually mean? Well, think of it like this. It's basically a weather engine. That lower pressure acts like a giant vacuum cleaner in the atmosphere, just sucking in all the surrounding air. As that air gets pulled in and shoots upward, it cools down, the moisture in it condenses into clouds, and then, yep, you guessed it, we get a serious downpour. It is a textbook recipe for heavy rain.
And trust me, this system has already made its presence known. Let's look at the hard data, the actual rainfall numbers from the last 24 hours, to see just how much of a punch this thing is packing.
Okay, get ready for this number. 18 centimeters. I mean, just let that sink in. That is an incredible amount of rain for one spot in just 24 hours. For a lot of places, that's more than they see in an entire month. This one number right here tells you everything you need to know about the raw, concentrated power this system is bringing to the table.
All right, so this chart tells the story of where that power was focused. Just look at the Nagapattinam district in the Delta region. It got absolutely hammered. You see Thaputrai right at the top there with that crazy 18-centimeter figure. But it wasn't just them. Look down the list, Pachantikulam, Kodiakarai, all of them getting way over 10 centimeters. The Delta districts, for sure, took the first major hit from this storm.
Okay, so that was yesterday. Let's fast forward to right now and see how all of this is shaping up for today's forecast. We're going to break this down region by region, so you'll know exactly what to expect where you are.
Okay, so with this low-pressure system now sitting right off the Kanyakumari Sea, it's pretty clear who's in the direct line of fire. The southern districts. We're talking places like Kanyakumari, Tirunelveli, and Toothukudi. They could be in for some heavy, maybe even very heavy rain. And that intensity is also going to be felt all along the Western Ghats, hitting places like Theni, Tenkasi, and up in the Nilgiris.
Now, you might be thinking, hey, the storm's down south, so the north coast, including Chennai, should be fine, right? Well, not exactly. The whole area is on high alert, and here's why. The system's winds are acting like these long arms, reaching out, grabbing moisture from the sea, and creating something called convergence right over the coast. So what does that mean for you? It means that from Chennai all the way down to those delta districts that got soaked yesterday, you can expect more of the same today. Widespread heavy rain.
You know, one of the big changes for today's forecast is that the rain is starting to push inland. Yesterday, it was pretty much a coastal story. But today, the interior districts, all the way from Vellore up in the north down to Madurai in the south, are going to see widespread moderate rain. And don't be surprised if some of those areas get some pretty intense bursts of heavy rain too. And this system, it doesn't really care about state borders. Its impact is spilling over. Neighboring Kerala, for instance, is bracing for widespread heavy rain pretty much across the whole state. And over in Karnataka, those same moist easterly winds are pushing inland, and they're set to bring moderate to heavy rain to the southern districts, including places like Bengaluru and Mysuru.
And if we look just a bit further north, southern Andhra Pradesh is also in for it. They're going to continue to see some pretty significant rainfall. We're expecting districts like Nellore, Cavalli, and Tirupati to get heavy rain, and that wet weather is going to extend into other southern districts as well.
Okay, so we've covered the where. It's raining. But what about the why? What's the actual science that's making all this happen? Let's break down the whole process into 4 simple, easy-to-understand steps.
All right, let's walk through this together. Step 1. It all kicks off with that low-pressure system out over the sea acting like that vacuum cleaner we talked about. Step 2, it starts pulling in all these easterly winds that are just loaded with moisture from the sea. Now, step 3, this is the most important part. It's called convergence. When these winds slam into the land, they collide, and they've got nowhere to go but straight up. And that leads directly to step 4. As all that moist air rises, it gets colder, it condenses, and it forms these really dense clouds that are just dumping all this rain on us. That convergence, that's the real engine here, turning ocean moisture into a massive downpour.
So we've covered what happened, what's happening now, and the science behind it. The big question left is, what's next? How long is this whole thing going to last?
Well, for anyone who's been waiting for some good rain, I've got good news. This is not a one-day wonder. This entire rainy weather pattern is expected to stick around for at least the next 2 to 3 days. So yeah, definitely keep those umbrellas close by because these conditions are here to stay for a little while.
And you know, just as we're dealing with this system, the weather experts are already looking ahead, watching the horizon. And what are they seeing? Well, the models are hinting that another low-pressure area could be forming in the southeast Bay of Bengal in the next 48 to 72 hours. So, could this be the start of a really active monsoon period? That's the big question we'll all be watching very, very closely. Thanks for joining this explainer, and please, stay safe out there.